Rob, the European draw's been made. We've been waiting a few weeks for it now, but 2 home draws potentially. But let's look at the first one, Lyon. You know you're going to be playing. French opposition, interesting.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because every question I've been asked media-wise now is not just talked about the first game, but the second game, which, I mean, for obvious reasons, it's weird this year because that's you never really knew. It's never really worked out like this before, where you've already known that if you win, you're at home again, and everything's panned out the way it is. So we've got to be very careful we don't kind of get distracted by what might happen in the second week and not realise that you've got something very important to do in week 1. We've got to beat a very good Lyon team. Started the season very, very well in the Pro 14. The top 14. I've slipped a little bit since then, but they're still kind of doing very well mid-table. We know they've got some great players, and I know they've got some great players because they're players I've looked at in the past on to whether we could leverage them out of France. And so, you know, I know they're a good side, I know they've got dangerous players, and I know it's going to be a big challenge for us. But, as you say, we've been very fortunate to get a home draw. That has been good for us in the past in Europe. We've been a very good team at home in Europe before. You know, this is where we've had some, obviously last season on the way, you know, we had some huge performances away from home, you know, particularly, you know, at La Rochelle was a huge performance from us. And then obviously, you know, we came for a real humdinger at Sale, and we battled to what proved to be a very, very important draw at Glasgow. So, you know, we had last year in particular good away from home, but prior to that, you know, all our really big performances have been here. And you think what we did in the semi-final against Toulouse, you know, we've got to be talking about backing ourselves at home against anybody in Europe. And so to know that we don't need to sort out the logistics of flying to France or Ireland, booking hotels, booking flights, all the stuff that's going to be happening around COVID. How important is that to you,
Brett, Rob? How important is that?
Well, it just means we can almost put a programme in place now that goes beyond the next 3 weeks. Obviously, we know what the next 3 weeks bring in the Premiership, but actually now, you know, we can lock ourselves down and go, right, well, post Gloucester on that Friday night, you know we've got to start working now what we do over that weekend. Do we use it completely as a break? Do we do anything to refresh the players? We obviously, as soon as we find out whether we're playing on it's normally a Saturday or Sunday for Heineken Cup games, we can then start to build an training programme. But we don't have to worry about the logistics of flying, what times that might be, what hotels might be available, what facilities might be available. You know, there's some of the issues that are going to be there, but like I say, based around the current situation, we've just avoided that headache, which we've got to make sure we use to our advantage.
And in the Champions Cup, whoever you play, whatever stage, they're going to be quality opposition, aren't
they? Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing. I think people sometimes forget, and it's probably something they don't quite realise, that clubs, and unless other clubs do it differently to myself, especially in a scenario now where there's no crowds. I mean, it changes a little bit if you're fighting for a home quarter-final and you can get a big crowd, because obviously there's a financial part of it. But the reality is, it doesn't really matter when you play the big sides, because to get there, everybody's got to beat everybody in a roundabout kind of way. And so, whoever you play, round 1, round 2, in any stage of the knockout, the reality is they're going to be good. And if you win one, you're going to have to beat someone even better the next time. And so, for us, we're just pleased we're at home. We'd have taken anybody at home. We genuinely would have done, because that, you know, it's just that home advantage is the big difference at the moment. So we've taken that, and we'll now try and progress with that. Of course, the flip side of it is that Lyon know if they come here, they've got a home quarter-final as well. So they've got some real motivation to get a game done as well, because they know they can take it back to their stadium. So, you know, we've got a challenge ahead, but, you know, it's one that we can look forward to, and we can relish, and we can start to concentrate on in a few weeks' time, because there is a reality that the Premiership is as competitive as I've ever seen it at the top. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, if we lose to Quins, that's it. We slip a spot and they overtake us, and we lose our grip on a top 2 spot. You know, that's how quickly things can shift. So we've certainly got to keep collecting points these next 3 weeks before we can even look forward to Heineken Cup rugby.
And it gives a bit of kind of the term of saying that you didn't know what was happening with Europe at some stage. You'd started so well. The COVID thing you said in the past affected you, but now you've got that course back on track, and it wouldn't have been great for you to defend a title or not defend a title in the manner you wanted to.
I think without doubt, you know, we sat and watched the draw yesterday with the players, because we know how important it is for them to have some clarity over what's happening around Europe. It certainly did give us a bit of a mental blow when we couldn't go over to Toulouse and play, because I know because from talking to some of the players, they kind of felt that opportunity to defend the Heineken Cup had gone. Because at that stage, obviously, everyone thought other fixtures were going to go ahead, and the game was going to get run out, and perhaps things just without, even if we'd have won more games or played well, we might not have been able to get ourselves in the position we needed to. So I know that dented us a little bit, and you could see that in some of the performances for 2 or 3 weeks. But I think this will help us bounce through it now with an energy and enthusiasm to go after 2 competitions. That's got to be my hope as the DOR here. But we've got to prove it on the field. And like I say, it's not about proving it on the field against Lyon, it's about proving it on the field against Quins. That's when it's got to start.